I have something very random because I was helping clean out cupboards, and my
Sounds
mother
ominous.
found what is called a special record book for your baby.
Not a
It is
book of records for your special baby.
no, not your sugar daddy type baby. No.
No, I was mean. No, never mind.
Okay, I missed something there. Okay.
Keep going.
It's from the 80s, obviously, and it's something I guess the doctor gives you when you've had a child for you to fill in. They haven't really filled in a lot of it, my parents. Not surprising, really. They got bored very quickly, like I do.
There's so many things I could possibly say right now that I'm just going to have to let you carry on before I explode.
It's going to be like reading out RPG stats, see how they compare to other people's, and then they'll call me a knob.
Has it got like height, weight, luck?
Yeah. I was born at 10 to 4, and I weighed 8 lobes, 5.5 ounces. Don't even use lobes. Well, LBS isn't pounds, is it? That's what they used to use before we invented proper.
No, that is pounds.
Weight. Oh, it is pounds.
Yes, that's pounds.
So I don't know. Is that quite heavy? Is that normal?
8 pounds. I think that's about average for a baby, isn't it?
Apparently, my eyes are grey-blue in colour, and how can you get a grey-blue? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Dr. Matthews was mental. That was my doctor, apparently.
Maybe he was on drugs.
He must have been.
In all likelihood, he touched your ass.
Well, yeah, because don't they?
It used to be the problem that they spank them, yeah.
To make you cry on purpose.
That bastard.
Yeah. I was 20 and a half.
Sue him. He touched you.
Oh, I assume he's dead by now. I was 20.5 inches tall as well. I don't know if that's again.
So many jokes. So many jokes.
Yeah, keep in mind we're talking about when I was a child. You don't want to go to prison. I smiled for the first time at 7 weeks. The first and only time I have ever smiled.
I can back that up.
I laughed at 4.5 months. There's no date given for first recognizing my mother or father, so presumably I still haven't done that.
Your dinner just arrives at the top of the stairs. That's it. Somebody puts it there. I don't know who.
There is actually a dash, so it's not like they've not filled it in. I sat up unaided on the 1st of December, the year I was born, and I first crawled. They haven't put the exact date. They've put approximately the 14th of January, the year after.
To be fair, right, they were probably more busy stopping you from crawling into like fireplaces or
poking plugs, sticking your finger in plugs, etc. Things were a lot more unsafe back then. Unsafe? Is that a word? Unsafe?
You made it a word.
I have if it isn't. I stood up by myself at 10 months and I walked at 11 months, apparently. They could just be lying to like make it seem like I was doing things faster than I really was.
The sort of thing that you would do.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, they knew I'd want to embellish my baby's first book.
Is there a bit in there for like, the first time that you like took a dump or like in a potty or something? Or first picked up a controller for a games console?
No, but that would probably be a Commodore 64. No, I didn't have a pad, did it? An Atari. It'd be an Atari.
Yeah.
What the hell? I didn't look. Like, I looked at this prior to now, and on the back page I never saw this. It's like lower jaw, top jaw, lower jaw, top jaw. It's like someone's been keeping a record of my teeth as they came in. That is scary.
It's quite creepy. It's disturbing. It's like sort of like you've uncovered a bit of Big Brother-esque. Someone's been tracking. There's probably somebody like living in the walls of your house with like little peepholes to take pictures and write notes and stuff like that.
That is scary that they've drawn what is my jaw and then marked where each tooth came in.
They drew your jaw.
Well, they've drawn like a hill-shaped mound and then marked each tooth as it came in.
Perhaps they were keeping track so that if any accidents were to happen, that
walk to walls. Yeah, that kind of thing. So that's it, really. There's nothing else filled in it. A family tree that's only half filled in. A bit for photographs, and there's none. I had German measles in May of 1985. That's the only illness listed.
That's the only contact you've had with the Germans since. I don't know where that's going.
I knew it. And before we wrap this up, I already knew this obviously, but my great-grandmother's first name was Minnie. I mean, what kind of... You don't hear that kind of name anymore.
No, people had strange names back in those days, though.
And my great-grandmother on my father's side, first name was Bell.
His name was Bell?
First name, no, mother. Great-grandmother.
Her name was Belle?
Yeah.
I suppose that's like supposed to mean beauty or something in French, isn't it?
In French, maybe, but in Scottish? Let's wrap it.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Good morrow, kind sir, and welcome to the most bountiful and delectable cast of pudding. Brain Go Hurty. How art thou?
What is wrong with you?
You ninny hanner.
I am not speaking in ye old English voice.
I am Sir Blighty of Puddlecock. Do you know what, fuck it, I can't be asked carrying that up.
Have you been drinking?
Yes, it's the...
No, the correct answer is I'm not drunk.
Not yet.
One day you will do that correctly.
Not yet.
Not yet, but...
So, Brain Go Hurty, episode 12 now, is that right? Or is it 11? I've lost track.
I think it is 12, but it's whether we call them episodes or podcasts, I'm not sure.
Who
Since
cares?
this might be going up on YouTube as full now, we should probably just call it episodes. Hello, YouTube.
Hello. So, yeah, it's supposed to be a gaming podcast. The first 5 minutes might tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Genealogy 101, that's what it is.
We were supposed to have a disclaimer, remember? Saying, don't worry, ignore this random stuff. It is actually about games.
Yeah, we'll do that after this.
That would fit for YouTube, actually. You know, the Jackass style. Don't worry, it does start talking about games eventually.
We'll do it after this, and I'll edit all this bit out, and then we'll put that in at the start.
Oh, okay. Right.
So, yeah, gaming podcast from a couple of weirdos. That's the best way to describe it, really, I suppose.
A couple of psychopaths.
Psychopaths, yes, that's the last podcast approved.
Yeah, please don't use it as evidence against us.
Nope. It won't stand up in court.
No. So that was 2 weeks ago anyway. So.
That was, yeah. It's been quite quick the last 2 weeks.
It has, actually. I found it has passed quite fast. Possibly because there's so much to do and not enough time in which to do it.
I think that is the case.
Because once again, we're going to fill up most of this probably with what we're playing. But that's fine, because it branches.
It always does. I think branches is quite a conservative.
That's the polite way of saying it. I think one time I did describe it as veering off. No, it was you veering off road.
Yeah, we went way off road onto the beach, into the sea. Yeah, drowned. Horrible.
I think describing it as going tonto. I think I've heard someone describing that kind of thing.
I'm sure there's something wrong about that.
I don't know what that means, though. Oh, I'm getting message on MSN. Just carry on like nothing's happening.
It must be a Lone Ranger reference. Anyway, so, yes, gaming podcast. So, usually what we start off with is what we've been playing for the last, 2 weeks, I guess. So, I think I'll go first, since I think I let you go first the last time. Even though they're bound to be exactly the same.
Are they exactly? Yeah, they pretty much are.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, so what we've been playing, we've been doing a bit of Gears still. Gears 3 Horde mode in particular. We finished off. We did the campaign on Insane mode with.
We did, yeah. With the Irish contingent, Moltar and Moltar's brother.
And no, it wasn't Moltar's brother. It was my brother. It was Stephen.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they're interchangeable. Kind sir.
They're interchangeable.
Yeah, they might as well be. Yeah, it was a bit difficult.
I would say it was piss easy up until the last boss.
Yeah, the last boss was just ridiculous.
But it was only piss easy because we were on arcade mode and had mutators. With none of that, it would be not worth doing.
No. We just did it for a bit of fun. But
yeah,
if you do plan on doing it, I would suggest doing it on arcade with some mutators and bring some friends.
Or even if no mutators, just do it on arcade so that as soon as someone goes down, it doesn't go back to checkpoint.
Yeah, because that would be horrible.
It would be. But yeah, that last boss, it took us 2 hours to kill it.
Yeah, it was about that.
We had to restart it once because our checkpoint was so bad.
Yeah. So other than that, we've been doing a bit of Horde mode and a little bit of Beast, and generally avoiding the multiplayer more or less. Just sort of sticking with the co-op stuff really, because
Yeah, we did horde mode on Insane as well. Just did that the other night there.
Yeah, a lot of people...
CR has a video of that.
He does, actually, yeah. Cynical Razor, if you check it out on YouTube, you should be able to find his... It's the last 2 waves, I think it is.
It is, although it still takes us 19 minutes to do the last 2 waves.
Fucking hell.
You won't hear me either. It was too late at night, so I wasn't talking.
No, you were being
sadly.
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah. I was busy killing things.
So, Gears came out, and we've been battering away at that for a bit.
We have. So we haven't actually been playing Dead Island, although we are still uploading videos of it.
Yeah, we were waiting on all of those going up first. So you're out of footage for that now, nearly, aren't you?
What? Well, part 30, quickly check. 31, I think, just went up earlier today, and I've got to 32 done.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's only one more to go up, and then that's us caught up, so we need to record more.
So we're probably going to get to about 60 episodes on that then, aren't
we? I would say 50, I would say.
About 50. That's all right.
I'm optimistically hoping it's not that many more, considering what else we've got to play, and people might be getting bored.
Yeah.
Some of them are proving popular, though.
So, yeah. It's been a slow burning sort of, hits on that one, but it's fun to play, so that's the important thing.
Yeah.
So, other than Gears 3, the only thing I've really been playing any long term is Dark Souls. Which we'll
probably have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So we played Demon's Souls, and we both really enjoyed it.
We did. I played it twice, the Asian release and the EU.
So it's a sort of RPG. It's not really properly multiplayer. It's a very strange mechanic for how the multiplayer works in this sort of franchise, where you're always, if you're connected to the internet, you're always sort of in a persistent world with other people, I guess.
Yeah, kind of.
You can sort of summon people in and out of your world, or you can invade other people, and people can leave messages and stuff on the floor.
And you see their ghosts running around.
Yeah, and it's basically been given a sort of branding of being a very difficult game. I mean, Demon's Souls was...
Yeah, Demon's Souls had that as well.
But it was challenging, and it was fun because it was challenging, and it wasn't too difficult.
No, not once you got yourself into it.
You just can't have that Dynasty Warriors approach where you just
definitely not
try and wade in there and smack a few guys about it. It doesn't work at all.
Well, unless you're so high level in that. But
yeah. So Dark Souls is the sort of spiritual successor.
We've been talking about that for quite a few podcasts now. The upcoming of it because of footage we saw and things the developers were saying that kept on raising my eyebrows. In a negative way. I mean, I don't mean in a sort of come on way.
You're rubbing your kneecaps. So yeah, we were quite anticipating it.
No. Well, you were anticipating it. I was getting increasingly worried about it.
It's because you're a cynical cock. That's why.
But on this occasion, I turned out to be absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah,
and it's one of those rare occasions where I wish I hadn't been.
I am gutted, and it's not that it's a bad game. There are so many good things about it, but they're just so overshadowed by the fact. If Demon's Souls hadn't been out first, this would probably have got like a higher ranking in my mind. But
a little bit.
Because we've already seen Demon's Souls and seen what they could have done with this sequel.
Yeah.
And flopped it. I mean, like, if you want to see Flick's opinion, you should go to Critical Gamer and have a look there.
.co.uk.
Yes, .co.uk.
Just in case people assume.
But there's so many weird things about it. Like, the graphics engine is pretty much identical to that of Demon's Souls, right?
It is the same engine.
But it has sort of severe slowdown and weird sort of episodes where it decides not to accept any of your input and stuff.
Now, that input lag only happened to me the once, I should point out.
No, I've had that on numerous occasions now.
Well, what we'll just explain what we mean by that is, say you want to press the button to use your equipped item.
Yes.
Nothing happens. You carry on moving around, and then all of a sudden it triggers, and you've done anything else.
Yeah, I've had that at least 3 times now. The other thing is sometimes it just randomly sort of freezes for a few seconds, which in like many games that wouldn't be that big an issue. But with this game, everything's like on a knife edge. You know, you're in combat with something that you need to be 100% focused all the time.
And one bit of freeze where you might let go of the block button or take a swing that misses could kill you.
Exactly. And yeah, just
that particular type of lag does seem to be connected to the fact that it's online, which doesn't make sense since it's Demon's Souls was the same, except now because there's server clusters or lobby clusters, however you want to explain how the multiplayer works now, there should be less of it going on. So how can it possibly lag more? It makes no sense.
I don't know, but that brings us on to my possibly the biggest grief that I have with the game.
Well, first of all, we'll just briefly recap that up to the release, we've been seeing the developers going on about, oh, you're going to die lots, it's going to be great, you're just going to get murdered all the time. Doesn't that sound fantastic? Doesn't that sound like the game you want to play? It kills you over and over. And
press button, get death.
Press button, get death. That's their angle that they went with, that they thought people wanted. And apparently, I guess people do, considering the average reviews. But anyway, on you go.
So, yeah, the biggest issue that I have with the game is that I enjoyed being able to co-op in the first one. I'm going to say the first one from now on.
Even though they're technically not connected by story or anything, it's a spiritual successor. They couldn't call it Demon's Souls 2 because Demon's Souls 1 was a PS3 exclusive, so it's tied in with PlayStation trademark, etc., whereas this one's on 360 as well.
It's all just a bunch of bullshit, really, that is.
Well, plus it's also changed publisher. It's no longer Atlas, it's Namco Bandai.
Namco Bandai.
Who are apparently getting the blame on the sly for quite a few of the co-op changes that I'm sure you're about to mention. Although I couldn't find any proof of that. I couldn't find the statement saying that it was Namco Bandai's decision.
Either way, somebody's going to get it, and they're going to get it good.
Yeah, don't want to piss off a pair of psychopaths.
No. So, yeah, no... The thing that I liked about Demon's Souls was that while it was difficult, you could sort of rope somebody in, whether they're a friend or just some random person, into your world to help you out as a ghost, basically.
To tackle the area and or the boss. Yeah. The boss had to be alive for you to be able to do that.
So the same applies to this one. The concept is still there, where you can rope people in, whether they're well, I was going to say whether they're friends or random strangers, but more often than not, you're wandering around and you don't see any of the markers that allow you to pull somebody into the game, which there should be plenty of.
Lots of people are buying it.
Everyone's playing it. There should be tons of these fucking markers, but you see maybe the odd one or two every once in a while if you're right in front of a boss area. So that removes that aspect. And then
and we should explain that's because of what I mentioned, the lobby type system rather than the persistent system in Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
Things are broken into clusters of players. And that means you don't see as many.
No, you could be potentially sitting in your cluster with absolutely nobody on it.
Or no one at all, yeah.
And they
Whereas other clusters could be full.
Yep. And it is entirely random, and it doesn't cluster them by your level or anything like that.
No,
so you could be somewhere where there is absolutely no physical way for you to invite someone into your world because the level gap is too big.
Yeah, which is now apparently 10% either way rather than 10 levels either way.
Yeah.
Which for higher levels is better, but for the start of the game is terrible.
Yeah, awful. Not to mention the final and worst part is
of the co-op, at least.
Of the co-op.
There's a lot more I'm going to say about it.
So the thing that annoys me the most about the co-op part of it is that we would go and find one particular part of said world and say, right, I'm going to put my soulstone thing down here, and I'll stand there and wait for it to appear and invite you into the game. Problem now is that we're not necessarily in the same cluster, so flick his soulstone down and I'll stand there like a fucking idiot for half an hour, nothing appears.
Yep.
You can turn the console on and off however many times you like. It doesn't seem to affect it. But
although we have now found out when you place your stone, it's placed on a random server, not necessarily the one you're currently occupying, ghost or message-wise.
So apparently, if you just keep spamming your stone, eventually it should show up in the person's world that you're hoping to see it. Eventually
being the key word. I mean, people are reporting success, but of varying degrees. 5 minutes, 15 minutes. It depends. And the servers are global, so presumably there's a lot of clusters.
Yeah, so not fun.
No, not fun at all. The co-op, or most of the game, for that matter. For anyone who doesn't know, I gave it 4 out of 10. I wanted to give it less than that, but I assumed if I did, no one would read it, although 4 out of 10 still meant that folk didn't read my review. They just skipped straight to calling me handicapped or inept or anything they could think of.
I read at least 4 comments on N4G that said that they specifically didn't read the review. They actually stated, "I did not read this. I looked at the score and then jumped straight to the bottom to comment." So what's the point if you don't read it? Just I'll come.
Yeah, if
come
they
back
don't
to this
read
later.
they don't know whether or not I justified it or not.
No, exactly.
I did read one that said it was one of the shortest reviews they'd read that also gave it quite a bad score, and I'm inclined to agree that it's on the short side, but I have a word limit, so I can't do anything about that.
Exactly.
And I had to cut out a fair few things I wanted to also strengthen my justification. I mean, I put in as much as I could, but I didn't talk about the input lag or the graphics because they were small in comparison to the co-op problems and just generally how the game is balanced.
Unbalanced, you mean?
Unbalanced.
It isn't.
Do you want to talk about the unbalanced now, or do you want me to give you a select few of the best things that got said about my review of it?
Okay, let's go with that. I want to hear some of the...
We probably saw some of these on Twitter anyway. I just picked the best few. It's like there was two folk who stated one thing and then the very next sentence contradicted themselves, and I thought that was brilliant because they clearly were just writing as they thought and then go back and see that they'd done that.
They were just going,
yeah. Like one guy said, "You're wrong, the game is fair." Next sentence, "Sure, I died a lot in one hit." Do you think that's fair? Are you serious?
Oh, dear.
Another one pointed out that reviews are opinions. I think that's great. Reviews are opinions. He's absolutely right. Next sentence, "You're wrong." How can I be wrong? It's my opinion of the game. Just because it's different to yours doesn't mean I'm wrong.
I actually used that against you in the last podcast, if I remember rightly. I said, "Nope, you're
did,
wrong."
yes.
But I was doing it with sarcasm.
Yes, you were. That's the difference. They were clearly being serious. Now, there was my editor pointed out one person said I shouldn't say that games should be fun and enjoyable, which was, I didn't actually see that one, so it might have been on N4G.
Is that not the very definition of a game? Is something
I assume you play games for fun. That's why I play them. But apparently not. But the worst was from someone calling themselves a reviewer who's apparently written many, many reviews. He said, if you don't like a review, a game that you've been given to review, give it to someone else who does.
Which, like that logic, like I really want to come back to this as a
okay, we can come back to it, yeah.
On that logic, then he must state that all games must all have good reviews. Because then, if you didn't like the game, you couldn't review it and you'd pass it to somebody that did. And they would then review it and give it a good score. So that means everything should get 10 out of 10 until pass down the chain until somebody who liked the game a lot reviewed it. That's bullshit. And that's just like...
Although I'm sure PR companies will love that guy. They should get in touch with him and send him review copies because they'll be guaranteed a good review.
Yeah, because even if he doesn't like the fucking game, he'll give it to somebody that does.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll come back to that later on, I think.
Yes, we should say the game is unfair. It's not challenging, it is unfair.
Yeah. And that takes the fun out of it, unfortunately.
It does. That was the main point in my review. There is a point where there has to be a basic premise of fairness for something to remain fun and challenging. Because otherwise you're just getting trolled by the game, essentially.
I think the way that I described it to you the other night was that, like, essentially the game has like roll dice, go boom, and you're almost on that sort of level where at any time you can just randomly get killed. They might as well have just put it in that like there's a dice roll that gets played in the background every
few seconds.
Every time you take a step. In fact, no, you don't even need to take a step. Just every few seconds, the game rolls a dice.
And if it's Snake Eyes, you explode.
Yeah, just randomly. For no reason whatsoever, other than to make it difficult. That's the fairness that the game actually has.
Yeah. So basically, like I said in my review, they misunderstood what folk liked, or I assumed they'd misunderstood what folk liked about Demon's Souls, although you would think by the number of people shouting insults at me that I was wrong.
I have a suspicion that these people just like to prove that they're good gamers and they can play this game, which is really hard. So they're saying, no, it is fair, it's fine, I'm enjoying it, and really they're sitting there beating themselves in the balls with their controller. Because
I was actually going to say that's kind of what I'm doing now, but no, I'm not doing the ball metaphor thing, but I am still, I'm determined to get through it just for the sake of finishing it. Yeah. Even though I've not got much reason because I've got no idea what the plot is about. It's totally random and trickled down. But I just want to do it just to say I have, and then it'll probably be getting sold.
Yeah.
It's not something I'll play through again.
So, other than Dark Souls...
I could have sworn I had one more Dark Souls related complaint. I can't remember what it was now. No, something something else that people misunderstood about the review, because I said in it the first few hours are totally uneven against you. Then when you get some good gear in that, it goes a bit easy, kind of. You get into the swing of things.
Yeah.
People ignored that bit and then jumped to a bit where I said no matter how strong you get, no matter how good gear you collect, there's always multiple things that will just instantly kill you.
There always will be.
And someone took that as me saying I don't like the fact that games get harder the further in you are. And I didn't say that at all.
You see, you'll find that people that haven't fully read a review, anybody's review, they probably don't do it in general, but if you don't fully read something and jump to your own conclusions and then start spouting your mouth on what your misconception of what somebody else has said. So they've basically read that and gone, you found the game difficult, therefore that's why you didn't like it. Therefore, that's the reason why you gave it a shit score. And they think that you're wrong because the game isn't difficult to them.
Yeah.
Whereas what you were trying to say is that the game is unfair and unbalanced.
Which it is.
The first one was difficult, but it was balanced and fair. That's the thing they don't seem to understand. And people were actually genuinely surprised that you enjoyed the first one, because they seem to think that there's no difference between the difficulty of both games.
Which is nonsense.
No, it's bullshit. We both know it.
Yeah, well.
So, other than Dark Souls...
quickly move on from that.
The only thing that I've really been playing other than that is I did a little bit more of the Battlefield 3 beta, and I am enjoying it.
Have they added vehicles yet?
Not that I know of, no.
Bleh.
For the beta, anyway. But it's not... Without the vehicles, I don't know, and without having loads of other people playing with me that I'm talking to, it doesn't have the same feel that Battlefield 2 did. If you were doing that, it doesn't feel epic enough. And I imagine with the vehicles and the big maps that might come. But as it stands, I'm actually on the fence about buying this at launch.
I don't like the Origin integration, really. I don't need another Steam. I'm sick of the one I have.
You don't need any more of these fucking programs to play games.
Yeah. Just in-game matchmaking is fine. Just have that. That's all it needs. Dedicated servers.
Well, at least it's got that. It's definitely got dedicated servers. And, you still be able to buy your own and all that sort of nonsense. My soon-to-be brother-in-law is... in a Call of Duty clan or whatever, they're planning on buying one. So I might get in on it a bit, but at the moment I'm kind of thinking, maybe I'll keep that £25 or however much they've charged for the PC version. And,
well, PC games are usually $24.99 now.
Yeah, I might sort of keep that to one side just now, and I might get it when it's a little cheaper.
Well, when we have less to play would be a good idea.
And that too, considering all the things that are still upcoming. You've still got Skyrim, you've still got Cybertron 3.
Arkham City on Friday.
Arkham City.
I think I'm reviewing it. Don't know if I'm getting a review copy just yet, but I am doing the review, I think.
Yeah.
Have no fear, people. I loved Arkham Asylum, so hopefully this one will be just as good.
Hooray.
It was actually my game of the year in the year that it came out, 2009, I think it was.
You were trying to coerce me to get it, and I still haven't played it.
I think it was when it was on the Steam massive summer sale for £1 or £2, possibly.
Yeah.
I played the PC version. I don't know how well it got ported. I played the 360. So yeah, I am looking forward to it.
So
you keep on trying to change the subject, and I keep on trying to stick to it. It's fine. I was just going to to prove that I don't just moan about everything. I was going to gush about Mark Hamill's Joker and Kevin Conroy's Batman, because I think they're both brilliant together.
There are games that you like and genuinely like, and it's not bullshit. It's just that people always seem to cling on to the ones that you hate. Or not hate, but find so many faults with. I have been
getting a slew of things where that has been happening. It's been a while since I've reviewed something that I've liked a lot.
I think it's just because there's been an awful lot of clashing with you against that sort of fanboyism that, like, I'm thinking, like, going back to Dark Souls again, that people are just so determined to say that it's such a good game that for you to fly in the face of their reviews or whatever, that they think you're doing it for the hits.
I'm amazed no one else voted it below a 8, I think. No, maybe 9. 8 or 9.
Anyway, we'll come back to that a little bit later.
Yes.
So, what have you been playing then?
I've not been playing Disgaea because we've been playing Dark Souls. It's kind of on. That's kind of something I will be going back to every so often for a year or two, probably when the DLC is released. And
a bit like we were doing with Team Fortress, just sort of going back in and out every once in a while.
Yeah, Battlefield 3 might take that kind of slot for us for a while.
I think
maybe.
Well, I think so.
Other than that, and in the lieu of me getting crap games to review, I'm currently playing through, let me get the name, The Cursed Crusade on 360. That's what I'm playing through at the minute. You won't see it on my gamer tag because I'm using a backup one, so I don't need to worry about the achievements on it because I knew it wasn't that great going in. It's not bad. It's just like I have a friend who's like pretty easy to please gaming wise, and he didn't like it. So if he doesn't like it, then it must be bad.
Note, I'm not the person that's easy to please.
No. So yes, you play as a Templar, or it's fully co-op, and it plays a bit kind of like Dynasty Warriors, but less enemies and a bit more complex fighting. And you play as either a Templar or a Spaniard, going through the Crusades. So you basically sword fight. There's tons and tons of weapons.
So is it like somewhere between like Assassin's Creed and Dynasty Warriors and Bushido Blade, let's say?
Kind of. Coming off the back of something like Assassin's Creed is weird because there's a lot of historical figures in it that is also in the Assassin's Creed game, like Richard the Lionheart, what's his name, de Montferrat, all the key Third Crusade characters of history.
Yeah.
Now, the twist in The Cursed Crusade is it goes all demony for no apparent reason.
just for the lulls.
Yeah, like anytime you activate a curse, your curse, and everything goes a bit demony. And you get hunted by Death, who obviously can't die because he's Death, so you're trying to find a cure, I guess.
A cure for death?
No, a cure for the curse, because he's coming after you because you've got the curse because you've sinned.
You got the lurgy.
Not to go too much into the story. Although it has it's clearly not a high budget game, but it's got quite a few lengthy cutscenes and the story's pretty good. I just think the demon stuff kind of ruins it.
They kind of thought we'll just splodge this in here somewhere. A bit like
they've carried itself without it.
A bit like adding zombie modes and stuff like that to games. Yeah, we'll stick this on there. Everybody loves zombies. We'll just put that in.
So I don't know how far I'm through it. I don't know how many acts there are, but I think I'm into the 3rd or 4th now. So I'm getting through that slowly, and I think other than that, that's pretty much the only other thing I've been playing. Just quickly thinking, we haven't played the co-op DLC for Portal 2 yet.
No, we keep meaning to try and squeeze that in, but
I mean, there's no rush, and I think we're going to be putting that on your channel.
Yeah, why not? I'll record that one.
Just so, because who knows?
It's not like we've got anything better to do. Everything we're playing is on consoles, and I don't have a Hopage, so I have to resort to just doing the PC ones.
True. Plus, it's a change from the Minecraft videos you've been doing, because we're playing Minecraft because it's still getting updated and it's still broken and.
Yep.
Only Notch could break so many things in the effort to fix the game.
He's actually, I follow him on Twitter. I know I've said this a few times, but he's actually sort of manically coding many things at the moment and just randomly announcing that, for example, in the default texture packs and stuff, the moon is square and things like that. So he did a whole poll today, I think it was, to say whether or not he wanted to keep that square or go spherical. So he's doing things like that.
Would you happen to know which is winning, out of curiosity?
It's going to be spherical. It's going to be round.
I thought so, yeah. Square moons.
He's talking about adding in giant dragons that destroy blocks and can fly. And
he showed a screenshot of that, and people suspected that was a bit of a jab at the ongoing trial, which is now going to court.
Yeah.
Bethesda went back down even when they did. Notch's company kind of backed down, and they still wouldn't. So Bethesda are being arseholes right now.
Yeah. Oh well. So yeah, he's doing some pretty strange things right now, but it's good. It feels like a lot more life is suddenly sort of springing into the game. It's just as long as he fucking fixes the things that don't work.
Yeah, and as long as he also does keep it separate, like he has a RPG-ish type game mode, but he also has the building mode that people like so much, just to build whatever comes to mind.
I never find the need to want to do that. I prefer to have the challenge of finding the materials to make things. I would get more satisfaction.
There are people out there who are, I guess they want to be architects.
Yeah, there's people out there that build like 1-to-1 scale Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, we ran around one of those, didn't we? that was ages ago.
So
yeah, that wraps up everything we're playing, I think.
Would you like, speaking of Notch and scrolls and whatnot, have you like done much like digging into what that's all about, the game and so on?
Scrolls?
Yeah.
It's a card game thing, isn't it?
Is it interesting you in any way? I'm just curious because
it's interesting me in the sense that if it's addictive like Minecraft, it might be good. Yeah.
I was just thinking that like this is where I like hold my hand up and admit to picking up Pokemon cards, but rarely actually getting.
Not recently. Not recently.
No. A long time. We well, yeah, I'll throw it out there. You used to play as well because you were the person I played against and stuff. We did play like 3 ways and stuff like that. And I actually I enjoyed it when you could get like people actually playing and get a game going. I found it fun. That sort of
I like strategic. I like strategic games, be it card games or tabletop games or whatever. Like even now, I know nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime, but I buy the PSP games because as a card game, strategic card game, I like it.
So what I was hoping is that like this was going to be kind of like bring that out in me again, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, it looks like it's a bit Magic the Gathering type, but maybe with a bit of tongue-in-cheek, so possibly.
Yeah, I was kind of like hoping that it would be something quite fun to play.
It'll be interesting to see if it's released as a full release, full price, or if he does a kind of beta type thing, getting at a cheap price, or if he'll update it constantly.
Well,
depends how it works. Does it come with everything, or does things get added?
We'll soon find out, I guess, won't we?
Yeah, he's not giving much away about it, really.
No, secret projects.
It is secret project. Plus, people were just moaning about Minecraft, so those Minecraft players are dangerous.
Dangerous psychopaths.
Yeah, every single one of them. Maybe.
So,
would you like a random non-gaming intermission?
Yeah. Oh,
I didn't see musical.
Oh.
See, I don't think we impart enough good advice to people who listen to these.
What do you mean good advice? Like, don't eat yellow snow and that sort of thing?
Well, that is good advice. The don't trust Whitey thing we said last time. Oh no, that was in a Dead Island video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You said don't eat yellow. Yeah. Well, I've been meaning to talk about this since summer, basically.
Oh dear.
But we'll just go by Steam.
Wait a second. Yeah, it's still summer now, according to Valve.
It's going to be summer until roughly March, when it starts up again being summer. It's just summer. There's no other season now.
Scorcho!
Yeah, it's just Scorcho all year round. So, since the middle of the year then, let's say, rather than summer. I've been meaning to talk about this because it's something I noticed, because we get school leavers in the summer, like the folk who've just finished their year and leave early at 16, 17. So we were getting a lot of CVs handed in where I work, and I noticed a recurring theme in them. I don't know if I'm supposed to be reading them.
I was going to say, are you supposed to be looking at these?
I don't know, but I did.
I have a small confession to make actually on that point there, is that I had actually asked to see your CV when you applied for that job, but I wasn't allowed to see it.
Why would you want to see my CV?
I was just curious to see what you'd written.
Well, I don't think I have an up-to-date one now, because I've been in
So
this
you
job.
still got it, so I could still read it.
I still have an old one, probably. But yeah, the point is, right, well, if you don't have a CV now, you've definitely at some point in your life done one, I assume.
Me, I've got an up-to-date one, yeah, because I apply for jobs fairly regularly.
Right, so after you've done your basic stuff, your name, your address, what is the first proper section of a CV?
You're supposed to have a personal statement at the top.
No, you're not.
Yes,
God damn it.
Yes, you fucking well are.
That is what everyone is doing these days, and that is not what you should have.
What should you have?
Like, clearly this must be the new thing they're teaching about how people should write CVs.
It's not new. It's been in existence for many, many years. You're supposed to have a
You shouldn't have a personal statement, because a personal statement is redundant. And it's redundant because it's a lie, and the employer knows it's a lie.
There should
There
should be a personal statement at the start, so that what they do is they skim all the rest. They look at the other bits and pieces for the qualifications, all that sort of stuff. If you definitely meet those criteria, all they do is read the personal statement. If you fit that, then they'll give you an interview. That's it. That's all.
That's a total fabrication, because the personal statement doesn't have an ounce of truth in it.
No,
and I'll prove it. I can prove it, because every CV I got. Well, I say I got given.
Every CV you stole.
Every CV that I read had a personal statement, and it was word for word the same. And I swear I got 3 in one day, and it had the same personal statement, because it was this all-purpose personal statement that said, "Oh, I work alone well. I work in groups well. I work on my own accord. I do everything. I'm Superman. I can fly."
You know the reason for that is because of the internet. Because people will go on, they will type personal statement in, and then they will steal whatever is straight on there. People will do that, and that's why. But you should genuinely. Do you know mine actually talks about like music theory and playing the guitar and stuff like that?
See, I do have a personal statement. Well, what you can class as a personal statement, but I put it at the end because I know that the first thing someone cares about is if you're qualified for the job and if you have an education. Then they'll care about whether or not you're a likable person and what you do for fun. And
I suppose.
So my advice to people is, if you must have a personal statement first, don't copy one off the internet that answers everything. Be honest. But if I was the boss, I wouldn't start with that.
It'll only come back to bite you in the ass if you cheat anyway, really.
So there you go. Mine goes qualifications, work experience, personal statement.
I was sitting checking to see if I have a copy of mine on my phone, because I thought that I did.
Why would you have a copy of your CV on your phone?
I send things to my phone to send to my work. It's all complicated nonsense.
Oh, as a totally very random side thing, a friend of mine has the new iPhone, the 4S.
Oh, yeah.
Which has that Siri, the AI thing built into it that you can ask stuff.
Oh, this is what I was going to talk about.
Oh,
you start, because I don't know if you're going to talk about the same thing.
Well, I'm talking about specifically a picture he posted on Facebook of his phone.
Right.
Because he asked, you can talk to this Siri AI thing inside the 4S, and it says, "What can I help you with?" So he said, "I love you." And the answer it gave was, "All you need is love and your iPhone." And he posted a screenshot of it doing that.
There's quite a lot of people that have done the same thing. Like, it's where it says, like, "What's your favourite colour?" And it comes back with, like, "My favourite colour is, well, I don't know how to say it in your language. It's sort of greenish, but with more dimensions." Someone put, "You're a bitch," and it comes back, "I'm doing my best, master."
That is disturbing. Although it does sound like a hell of a lot of fun just to piss around with.
You're sexy. I am? Yes, I thought so.
Whoever thought up that just as a gimmick is amazing, although it does have practical uses as well, but people will just use it to do stuff like that.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? 42 cords of wood, to be exact. Everyone knows that. But people seem to be asking it like the worst possible questions, like, "What are you wearing?" And it comes back with aluminosilicate glass and stainless steel. Nice, huh?
See, Ed knows the type of people that buy it.
Yeah, exactly. There was a good one. My favourite one so far is, "Do you know HAL 9000? And the response is, "Everyone knows what happened to HAL. I'd rather not talk about it." but if you insist, and then underneath is a link, search the website for HAL. But
have you seen the video where someone has taken the advert for 4S with Siri and done GLaDOS' voice instead of Siri's voice?
See, if it was on like an Android system, you could probably do that.
Yeah, but as a video, very funny. It is, because it has all the lines where she calls Chell fat, or subtly calls her fat.
Yes.
Like it has the woman in the advert saying, "Can you remind me I have this party at 12 o'clock?" And then GLaDOS saying, "Sure, I'll remind you. You and your £20 extra will be there." And things like that. I'll try and find the link to the video so we can put it on the blog afterwards.
Yeah, good idea. What I was going to bring up, like you started the ball rolling there with the
4S.
This is from Siri, but apparently, right, it can understand all sorts of people from all sorts of places and stuff. But
accents.
The one thing that it can understand accents. But there's one that it can't, and apparently it's the Scottish accent. It can't understand it properly. For some peculiar reason, it just doesn't. It doesn't recognize it.
Why Scottish? Are they meaning Glaswegian? Because I struggle to understand some Glaswegian.
Yeah, like if you're speaking Ouija, basically, it doesn't.
Speaking Ouija.
So, like, if somebody did a test saying, like, oh, for fuck's sake, they've written this really dodgily. See, if they wrote it normally, I could read it properly.
Oh, they've typed in an accent.
Typed it in yeah, so they've put like, Jiken he means the. You don't say ra.
No, not even Glaswegians say that.
Jiken best bit for me to go and get another bottle of bucky. And it comes back with, would you like to do a web search for Campstress from your Melbourne hockey? It doesn't understand that particular accent, and I think that I would almost get one just to fuck around with it.
Does it understand other languages? Would, like, say, the Western version understand Eastern languages?
I don't know, actually.
If you could speak Russian, could you speak Russian into it and it understand?
In Mother Russia, phone calls you.
Yeah, I didn't mean put on a Russian accent. I mean, she'd probably just say stop being offensive if you did that.
He's cat now.
Find someone who's stupid enough to buy one at launch and see.
I am actually tempted to get one because I'm doing an upgrade, so it'll still cost me an arm and a leg.
I'll be upgraded to one as well because I don't have a 4, and I knew there would be a new version, so not upgrading yet. It'll be April next year.
My upgrade is before the end of this month.
Well, there you go. If you get one.
Yeah, but it'll still cost me £100 to get the fucking handset.
Get Siri on Skype and I'll say something in Japanese. Watashi wa kinyo desu.
Yeah.
I am a goldfish.
I see. Pantalones en el suelo.
Something about underwear?
Pants on the ground.
Ah.
But that's the American pants. If you wanted to talk about your actual underwear, it's bragas. Bragas en el suelo. That's like dropping your drawers. That's the first thing I said to my Spanish-speaking partner's mother. It's Vicky's mum, basically. The first thing I said to her, I think, when I met her was pants on the ground.
You have your pants, and how did she react?
She's confused. Her usual reaction to any time I say anything in Spanish to her is usually "So señor."
So señor?
Yeah, she's basically saying like, "Oh Jesus," basically.
Oh no, he's trying to speak our language again.
Pretty much.
Have you made no effort to learn?
Not yet, no. Just funny things. Like it's difficult.
Learning a language is a pain in the arse. I've been neglecting my Japanese for a while now.
I think my plan is that like when we have kids, like the kid is going to get like enforced into Spanish, like Vicky was, and it's a good thing. It's good to learn another language, and I wish that I had when I was young.
Spanish.
Yeah, so that it's fluent in both Spanish and English.
Right.
And I'll just learn when the kid's learning. It's perfect.
There is a dangerously disturbing logic to that plan.
And that way people can't have secret conversations that I don't understand.
Well, you mean like if she says in Spanish to the baby, he's not your father?
That's why you're black.
Oh, you just had to go there.
Yep, I did.
The CR that talked about that. The 3D television that made a woman pregnant.
Oh, I saw. That was me.
Tell that story. It's shocking.
Apparently, some American woman. Basically, her husband was a soldier, and while he was away for the best part of a year, he came back from being in Afghanistan or wherever.
Middle East, probably. Yeah.
To find that he was the father of a black baby, and both parents were white. And the woman claims that, and she's like wholeheartedly believes this to be true, that she went to see a porno in 3D and that made her pregnant because the kid looks like the actor in the porno.
I just find it amazing that there's actually 3D pornos. I mean, is that you?
That's the amazing part.
That is the amazing part.
When somebody brings out 3D, the first thing that anybody does with any new piece of technology, how do I apply that to sex? The internet. First thing that happened after the guys went, "Hey, this is great. We can send messages over this new network we've made." Next thing you know, somebody got a picture of a pair of tits. Bet you it happened.
So basically, porn is like the Borg. It just assimilates technology as it's made. Technological innovation is to further the cause of sex. Anyway,
you can't follow that logic. I mean, think about it. Every time someone, like, even like cleaning, like you clean the house, people think, right, we'll get this new device so that you can like suck up all of the dirt and all the dust and all that sort of stuff. First thing that happens, somebody uses it to suck their dick with it.
No, at home, if you're young, don't try that. It might fall off. Anyway, let's go back to this less than sound logic of this woman's claiming she got pregnant via 3D movie. She obviously is lying. Obviously.
The thing that disturbs me most about this story, right, is that her husband, who believes her,
yes,
right, he is a soldier and is given a gun.
And he thinks films make people pregnant.
That is worrying that you would give somebody that has that level of naivety or stupidity. In fact, fuck naivety. He's just stupid. He gets given something that can kill people.
Not that I'm particularly a fan of Michael Moore's, but if you do watch his film about the war in Iraq, it is low income, the lower end people who are drafted in to the military because they get free education that way. But obviously they also have to go serve in a war. It's kind of like a catch-22 education-wise, and it does seem to be... But he can't be that stupid. It's kind of like... It's feigning ignorance and stupidity.
I think
they're married together.
He's just sitting there like telling himself, that's what happened, that's what happened, that's what happened, that's what happened. You cheating bitch! What happened, that's what happened.
But points for ingenuity of thinking up a bloody good, good story.
None of this, she would have got away a lot easier by saying that she'd been raped. But no, I went to the cinema and watched a porno, and that's how I got pregnant.
See, where are you when people need good ideas? I was raped. There you go.
Caution, rape is not a good idea.
And don't take that one bit of sound out of context and then put it on YouTube.
Oh dear.
I just hear you clicking there.
What?
Like a mental note on where in the sound it was. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Not get an idea.
I was drinking some ginger beer.
Non-alcoholic ginger beer.
Non-alcoholic ginger beer. On this glorious evening.
Don't go back into weird English thing. So let's quickly change subject. So we kind of got quite off track there. Kind of brought it back to technology, but let's go back to gaming.
Okay. So there's a new Transformers game coming out.
Yes, there is. You're stealing my topics.
I'm in your base hacking
podcast with stealing my topics. There is, and it's called Fall of Cybertron. So it's a bit disappointing. They're still saying it on Cybertron, and they're saying it before the start of the original 80s cartoon. Still, obviously.
That's how they get away with severe plot problems. True,
but that was one of the things I liked about War of Cybertron was how close it was to technically the setup of the original cartoon.
True.
First episode was set on Cybertron. See, I'm getting too far into cheesy childish fandom now. See, I do like some things that don't give me any credit whatsoever, but So yeah, Fall of Cybertron is going to be out next year. I would assume the end of the year. Unless they've been working on it solidly. But no, they can't have been because that crappy tie-in game came out. And it is High Moon Studios that are doing it.
All right.
One big reveal they've done is that Grimlock will be in it, who's kind of like the fan favourite.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Very random bit of Transformers trivia. Originally in the movie and whatnot, when Optimus Prime was killed, the 80s movie, Grimlock was supposed to be the new leader. But because in the cartoon they made him an idiot, people didn't like that.
No.
He was originally supposed to be a badass, which is why in the comics that are out these days, he is a badass, not a stupid, retarded dinosaur.
It's like the opposite direction of that Simpsons episode where the TV character is Homer Simpson, and he starts off as this brilliant cop and stuff, and then becomes essentially the same character as Homer.
Now, what I don't like is, like I just said, in most modern day versions of Grimlock, he's actually a tank, I think in one of the main comic book stories. But just earlier today, there's been a preview movie showing that he's a dinosaur on Cybertron.
Hello, I'm a dinosaur.
makes no sense whatsoever and is very, very disappointing. It makes no sense. Although I suppose Triptychon in the first one made no sense either because he's a dinosaur type thing. But yeah, they should have just went with the way fans know him now. Just a big tank or stompy thing.
Oh, well.
Well, hopefully he just won't be an idiot. That'll be okay.
Just hopefully that the game itself just isn't a huge flop like the last one. I mean, War for Cybertron was good.
We talked about this before we got started. By the last one, you aren't meaning War for Cybertron. No. You're meaning the tie-in to the Dark of the Moon game. Yeah, which was pish. So I think that's the first time I've used the word pish to describe a game.
It's pish.
That's all this talk about Scottish slang.
You don't use enough of it in the podcast. You don't embrace your heritage enough.
It would confuse people. That's why I originally never did anything with my voice, because I thought people wouldn't like my accent.
If you go looking at enough videos on YouTube, you will find an awful lot of people that sound just like terrible. So it's okay that I sound terrible because there's plenty of other people who do. There's people that are an awful lot worse. Just like, especially, most importantly, the people that do like the unboxing of things. Those people, they always sound bad. I don't know what it is. Their accents and their attitudes are just horrible.
Their attitudes?
Yeah, they seem to be like excited by like the smallest
things. It's got a manual. It's got a manual.
Oh, I just creamed my pants. It's covered in cardboard.
Actually, getting a game these days that does have a manual is cause for celebration because it's always just pieces of paper or nothing now.
Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend jizzing yourself over it. You can't argue with that.
There's worse things to...
There's better things to jizz over than gaming manuals.
There is also worse.
Oh, speaking of which, I never did get that Dark Age of Camelot guide off of my brother.
Is that what you plan to do once you have?
I don't think it could withstand that. I think it's really
old. At least it's legal. What does that mean?
Oh dear.
I can't remember what we're talking about now. Oh, not War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. Did you hear my phone going off there?
I heard some things.
Yeah, I was just working out that the abbreviation was FOC.
FOC?
Yeah. Just working it out in my head for no reason. OCD, blah, blah, blah. Carry on.
So, yeah, we liked War for Cybertron, and it was a different sort of taste on... In fact, thinking about it, the way that War for Cybertron applies to like Gears of War is how I was hoping that Space Marine would apply to Gears of War, where they took that sort of similar structure but put a twist on it that made it fun.
Yeah, if you like the setting.
Like, the multiplayer for War for Cybertron was really, really good. It was solid. It didn't have an awful lot of people in it, but just the controls and everything, it was slick. It was really, it was intuitive.
It integrated the transforming well.
Yeah, they nailed that right on the head. Whereas, like, the controls and the combat play and stuff for Space Marine was horrible. But you could see how both of them have been inspired by, like, Gears.
Yeah, heavily inspired by.
Yeah. One pulled it off and one didn't, in my opinion.
How's Space Marine been doing? I haven't really been hearing much about whether it's sold well, so badly.
It came about and then it's kind of just sort of dried up. Nobody really talks an awful lot about it.
There's so many other bigger name things out that people are looking forward to. I suppose this is a really bad time to be...
Well, I mean, it came out around the same sort of time as Gears and stuff, so it was a bit,
Yeah, it was the week before Gears 3, wasn't it?
I mean, like, it got like 7.5 on like the Metacritic score, so it's not been given like a horrible score. I mean, we'll probably break into this in a second, but 7.5 does not mean bad. It's just that people seem to have it in their head that unless you get 8 or 9 and above,
then it's apparently terrible, and that isn't what that means. I think we have briefly touched on this subject in a podcast a long time ago. Now, I think
so. But you know what?
It was the early noir thing. That's what it was.
I'm going to take this moment to put this like crystal clear exactly how I see this problem, right? And this is based off of your review for Dark Souls, right? So you give it 4 out of 10, and people are hating on that, right? Haters hate. The Metacritic average is 7.5. Let's just call it 7, just for argument's sake, right? So you've given it 3 points less than the average.
Yeah. And technically only 1 point below the actual real average middle of the road score, which is a 5.
So let's say that you'd given it 3 points more than the average, which would be 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Would there be the same hype about, oh my god, he's given it 10, the guy's an idiot, he obviously is a fanboy or something like that? That wouldn't happen.
It kind of rarely does, but only if it's there's a undercurrent reason for it, say it's a PS3 exclusive, so you'll get X-boys. You'll get Xbox people coming in and saying, "Oh, you've just said this is perfect because you're a PS3 fanboy."
And then
that happens.
Do they follow that up going, "I'm a lady"?
Yes, they do often. Well, they certainly don't have any balls. Anyway, carry on your rant. Carry on your rant about reviews, because that is a good point.
I think that, as I was trying to say earlier on, I think that the way that reviews have gone, they are now almost meaningless because too many people are just pandering to what people are expecting the score to be. It's almost because there's a certain likability. Let's say it's not so much about the reviewer, it's about who they want to read the review. So if you put out a score of 8 or 9, you want somebody that you think is already going to like the game to want to read your review and then see what you think about it. If you put 10, you're encouraging people that you think they're going to buy the game anyway, but they want to see why you give it a 10 in your preview or whatever of the game. If you give it 3, if you give it, in fact, you know what? Let's say you give it 6. 6 is not a bad score because that's 1 mark above average. 5 is average, right?
Yes, it is.
Plenty of average games out there. So if you give 6, that's better than average.
Yes.
But people aren't even going to bother reading the fucking review. They're just going to jump straight to the 6 and go, well, this person didn't like the game. I'm planning on buying the game. I won't read the review. Or, do you know what? I'll put a comment to say, this guy's an idiot. I didn't read his review, but he's definitely an idiot because he gave it a 6.
I'm in the camp of people that are inclined to believe that the score is meaningless, like you say, and it's the words that are important.
Yes.
But you can't really have one without the other because people want that shortcut because people are lazy. And people are.
I think you should give it a score, but you should justify it. But if you don't read the justification, what's the point of looking at the score?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the camp I'm in. I don't just look at a score. I want to look at the justification for it.
If somebody let's say I saw a review for, let's say, Gears of War, someone put 2 for it, I would go and read it. People are saying, oh, this person's just, going for hits for their website or whatever. I would go and read it so I could see whether or not they actually backed it up. If they put in, even if I disagreed with all their points, if that was their opinion, then fair play to them. If they genuinely didn't like X, Y, and Z, and they thought that that's why it deserved the score that they gave it, then so be it.
But if you do go there and there's no justification, then you do know they were just trolling.
Yep, and then I won't be going back there again.
Yeah. Actually, in the same vein of things, my editor was commenting on Twitter earlier that he wasn't a fan of the Computer Video Games magazine or website, or both. I don't know if they post the same reviews they do on their website as they do the magazine. They've done the Arkham City review, and he says it reads like it was written by PR, like their Dark Souls one was as well.
I haven't really bought any magazines for a while. Every once in a while, like if I'm flying or something, I will end up buying a gaming magazine, so there's something interesting to read. And I hadn't really bought any for years. And when I started, traveling and stuff, buying these magazines, I started actually coming along to that side of thinking that an awful lot of them do feel like they've just gone, here, we'll give you 2 pages, you write the review for the game, and we'll just stick it in our magazine. And, we'll take some money from you as well. That's not a problem.
Isn't it amazing when someone gets a world exclusive review? It's always a really highly scored game.
Yes.
I can't believe that goes on and people don't stop and think about that. Although I will point out, it's sometimes not necessarily the person writing the review who's to blame. They might have a figurative gun to their head.
Yeah, exactly. They could have, their editor who says, no, you have to give it such and such a score.
Yeah, they're backing us. They're putting ads on our site. You have to like this.
Or
if you don't like it, give it to someone who does.
Have you read many Dark Souls reviews?
I looked at the Franken review thing Kotaku does, where it quotes from various reviews and then does the average, over each one.
Yeah.
But no, I tend not to read reviews, especially if I know I'm going to be doing the review myself, because I don't want them to influence me.
I haven't gone looking, and I think I might do later on, and it'd be interesting to see whether or not anybody else picked up on the same faults that we have from playing.
It's possible that some people have, and then they just haven't penalised it for it.
I mean, if you don't penalise the game that's supposed to have, like, people invading you and you jumping in and that sort of stuff, if that's supposed to be one of the core elements of the game, and it definitely was one of the big things about the first one, if you don't put anything in your review that says,
the game isn't fair,
this doesn't work, or the game isn't fair, and I've deducted a couple of points for that, then you're just not reviewing properly. You're just pandering to what's good and taking out all the stuff that's bad.
While you were describing that, I decided to look at the back of the box for Dark Souls, because I remember that has prepare to die, so I was going to mention to you maybe their whole angle is you should know that going in. But in the description underneath prepare to die, it says tense dungeon crawling, fearsome enemy encounters, groundbreaking online features.
Groundbreaking.
And then it says,
game-breaking.
Game breaking. Then it says incredible challenges provide an absolute foundation of achievement and reward. Now, challenges do provide achievement and reward. You feel satisfied when you do them, but not if you're constantly being battered down by something that doesn't treat fairly.
Now, the way that I tried to get my opinion on that across to you the other day was that I compared Final Fantasy XI and World of Warcraft. In World of Warcraft, it sort of steadily drip feeds you like achievement related sort of stuff, and you get that sort of sense of accomplishment sort of regularly, but it's not a lot, and it drip feeds you as you go. There's the odd spike, but as you go through the game, it's more or less just sort of drip fed. Final Fantasy XI, it was like it was like having a second job sometimes to do things. But you just plowed at it, and you weren't getting an awful lot of achievement. And then when you got like a level, or you got a bit of your artifact or something, it was like the sense of...
You felt satisfaction.
Yeah, you got like a really decent sense of accomplishment for doing so.
Now, if you were to apply that kind of example to Dark Souls, it would be like you earned a great piece of armor, and then as soon as you put it on, you exploded. That's how Dark Souls treats gratification at achieving something.
Yeah,
do you feel satisfied if you beat a boss that has been beating you down for a few hours? But you do have to stop and question: was that satisfaction worth the frustration?
The fact that
having fun.
What I don't get, right, is that one of the big things, if you look up like any sort of beginner's guide to it, one of the first things that they will tell you to do is to go and do that. I don't know if this is spoiling anything, but to go and get that Drake sword. Right.
If you say just go get the Drake sword, that doesn't spoil anything unless someone opts to spoil it for themselves and goes to Google right now and types in, how do I find the Drake sword?
So, yeah, everybody says, well, go and get the Drake sword, right? And technically, in my eyes, that's an exploit. It's not... I don't think that's how it's... To
put that in perspective, your starting weapons have about 80 base attack, and it has 200.
Yeah, I don't think it was a secret. I think it's an exploit. I don't think you should have been able to get that sword at that point of the game.
Yeah, you can get it really early on. I bet those are the folk who are thinking, this game's piss easy.
Exactly.
Because it's like, you didn't struggle on bosses I did because you got the Drake sword sooner than I did.
Exactly. In fact, that's a good point, because I did, use the exploit and so on to make it.
So did I, because I'm going from the angle, like I said to you, if a game treats me unfairly, I'm going to treat it unfairly.
And even with that, it's not an awful... I mean, God, I can't imagine what it would have been like with, not having that. I'm still using the fucking thing, like 15 hours in. It
does eventually become redundant, and the game then goes back to kicking your arse again until you find another exploitable weapon in the area called Sen's Fortress, and then you use that for another 20 hours.
The fact that it's key to just about every guide is use this exploit, get this weapon, it'll make the game easier for you, or you'll progress with it. Mm-hmm. People might consider it to be a secret, but I think it's an exploit.
It technically is a secret, but you can exploit it in the sense that you can get it really early on.
Yeah, exactly.
Earlier than you should have a weapon that powerful, according to the game structure.
So, if people are finding this to be absolutely necessary, then there's definitely something wrong with the game.
Yeah, the first few hours in particular, especially if you've not had any experience with Demon Souls, it's murder. You would just be totally
lost. For the first hour, I was ready to turn the box over and sell it after one day, just because I was going the wrong fucking direction. But it doesn't make it clear where you're going.
It still doesn't. You get vague objectives and vague plot, so, I mean, anyone into story, there's nothing there at that point.
We've now jumped back onto Dark Souls again.
I knew that this whole thing was going to be mostly us moaning about it, but it's because it's such a good example of so many things that go wrong.
I suppose. I mean, it should have been like one of the highlights of the gaming calendar this year.
And I said in the review it was my biggest disappointment of the year. In fact, no, I said that on Twitter, but I implied it in the review.
It's annoyed me, and I'm just hoping that
a patch comes along.
Well,
I hope if there is a patch, it'll either balance the game or fix co-op. But I suspect if they patch it, it's just going to be you can't farm souls now, and you can't get the Drake's sword. They'll just
make it harder.
Yeah.
I know. What I was hoping is that there are no more disappointments. I'm hoping that everything else for this year runs nice and smooth.
Well, I certainly have high hopes for Arkham City, and I will be even more disappointed if that turns out bad.
I've got big hopes on Saints Row being great.
Have you been watching the little preview videos they've been releasing lately?
No, I haven't.
No, there's been a couple, and they start with jackass-type warnings, but...
yes, those. I've seen those. Yeah.
In real life, you should not launch someone into the air and continuously batter them into it with a grenade launcher loaded with cannons or whatever it was. And then it cuts to footage of someone doing that in the game. So, yeah, I do have high hopes for that. It's going to be silly, but not a type of... not retarded silly.
No. Well, maybe a little.
It's a big... well, yeah, okay, there's always a little bit of childishness in it, but it's not the same type of immaturity that you got in something like Bulletstorm.
Yeah.
There's funny things and parodies and whatnot.
So that's pretty much all I've got.
Let me see what's on my list. I don't have too many more things because we have not spoken about something we always go on about co-op stuff, yet we've not talked about Mass Effect 3 having co-op.
That's a good point. I haven't actually played Mass Effect 2. That's a very good point. So the next time that there's a gaming slump, that'll be on my list of things
to get out of the way. Yeah.
There's quite a few things that are finding their way onto that list now, but Mass Effect 2 is definitely one of them.
So yeah, it's the way they made it sound, because I'm worried, like they said in the video about it, that everyone would probably worried upon hearing it had co-op that it'd ruin the single-player adventure, because it is one of those games that I quite like playing alone, because you get into your RPGing. It doesn't need co-op.
It has a very engaging universe that properly gets you in it, whereas unlike say
Dark Souls.
not even Dark Souls, something a little bit more akin to it, say like Dragon Age. I don't feel like I was absorbed as much in that, but definitely when playing through, I think just the combination of the characters and the music and the dialogue, it definitely pulls you into the Mass Effect universe. So
what I could tell from the video is that there's only... because I'm trying to describe this in a way that doesn't spoil things. Because there's a war going on, there's assets to be held to help your chances for victory. And you can do those solo, or you can do them co-op, up to 4 people. And that's how the co-op is integrated into it.
Just for those parts of the game, not
just for those areas. So it's not playing through the whole thing, so you still get your plot.
Right.
Still, I'm worried they might feel a bit out of place, those bits, as a result. Or just that they're tagged on. But we'll see.
So when's that coming out? Do we have a release
Mass
date?
Effect 3, I don't think it's been given a date yet. It'll be next year.
If that's going to be the case and it's going to be something that we get involved in, then I'm going to have to get my arse into the second one and get moving.
Probably, yeah.
I can get that for the PlayStation now, though, can't
I? Yeah, it came with a recap of the first one, I think, because the first one didn't.
I still don't understand that, but yeah, why not?
Yeah, I don't know. That was only a quick topic, and I suppose I've only got a couple more quick things that we can get out of the way. Just that the release date of Resident Evil Revelations is going to be February. That's the 3DS one. Kind of looking forward to it. Like, they introduced a big boobs character with hair over both eyes, so you couldn't possibly see what she was doing, and fans hated her. So then they released an extended trailer that revealed, it's okay, she dies. Showed her getting killed. It's like, okay, you hate this person, we kill her. It's totally fine. Don't mind our crappy character design.
And everyone rejoiced.
Yeah, everyone did rejoice. I forgot to mention that a few podcasts ago, actually. That's been sitting there for a little while. The thing about the character no one liked, so they just showed that she died.
I've started thinking that the reason why the Asians have got such a big thing about women with big boobs is because...
Don't say this, it's going to be racist.
It's because they're weirdos.
Oh, okay, that isn't what I thought you were going to say. Bad me. Bad me.
I don't know. They just seem to keep doing weird. I don't know if it's just because it's a completely different culture, but they do things very weird.
Different. Yes, it's weird to us, but then things we do are very weird to them.
Yeah, but for example, like those hotels where it's just a tube that you live in. It's a room for a bed and a TV and a microwave, and you just sort of you're in a tube. Like what? Why would you? I know they don't have a lot of space and stuff, but it's a fucking tube.
Yes, I know.
Would it not be easier to put tents up somewhere? Just put tents up in the street.
No, it doesn't work like that. No. If you want a good book to read, you or anyone else, on how things work in Asia, there's a great book that I've got called The Japanese Mind. I'm checking who it's by. It's edited by Usumu Ikeno and Roger J. Davies, and it's basically a collection of essays by Japanese and non-Japanese students on various aspects of Japanese culture. It's very, very interesting.
I remember reading an article on Kotaku at one point of a guy that had moved over there.
Yes, that's one of the few things on there I've read. And
he was talking about when he'd started working at this. I don't know if it was an office or a building.
Yes,
at the building, and the culture was when you entered the building to scream hello, basically.
No, good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu.
Even if you were the first person in. And there was nobody to scream it to. Or if you went in and just with one other person that was just coming in, the first two people in the door, you would scream it in his face.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. But I would point out, he did 2 of those articles, and he comes across as an arsehole in both of them, so he's quite frankly deserving of most of the harassment he got.
I mean, I work in a pretty big office, and the last thing that I would want first thing in the morning, when I came in the door, is for someone to...
I pulled out my headset, by the way, so there might be a bit of sound distortion there. My toe got stuck in the wire.
See, I don't want to be screaming first thing in the morning. In fact, do you know what? I might try it, actually.
Go into work and shout, "Good morning!" No, wait, no, don't shout "Good morning." Shout it in Japanese. Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
No, gozaimasu.
Gozaimasu.
Yes.
Ohio. Ohio, is in the state.
Yeah. Technically, Ohio
I'm thinking of that song, that Yatta Yatta song.
Actually, I remember another thing from that article. He was saying that when he went out on a drinking night with the folk from work, they kept on trying to offer him drinks, and he said he had a liver disorder or something like that, so he couldn't. So they used their phones to look it up, what would happen if he drunk certain stuff, and he said, "Oh, you'll just be in hospital for a few days. Here, drink this."
I remember.
Yeah.
He was determined to get him to drink something.
If you're at all interested in the weirdness of Japanese culture, those are the only 2 things on Kotaku worth reading. Certainly not their reviews, because they have such an awful way of doing reviews there now. Even before, when they had the stereotypical review, the words might not have been meaningful, but at least it would have been better than what they do now.
Because now they don't actually review anything. They just take everybody else's reviews, and they take a little bit from each of them.
No, that's the Franken review. They do still do their own reviews as well.
Oh, do they still do it? Right, okay.
It's hard to tell because they're in such a horrific layout. I'll show you one later. They're bloody awful. In fact, they used to have a bit at the end, kind of like Fox News, that said why you should care, but then they kind of reworded that now, or taken away the title.
In general, I just don't like the layout of their website for anything now. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's awful.
In
fact, N4G is pretty bad as well. Having to click on the thing to go into the page for the link, then click on the link within that page to get to the original source, so you can actually read what it was that you wanted to read. And I'm just see when you're doing it on the fucking iPhone, because you have to bloody wait for the page to load and stretch every page so you can click on the tiniest little bloody link. Honestly, I get in fits about it when I'm at work.
That's what you get for looking at N4G.
I suppose I deserve it.
Now, I only really have 2 more things left. One which we should have fed in long before this, just about the first DLC for Gears 3. Because CR would probably be upset if we didn't mention that. The fact that it's clearly stuff that's in the game.
Yes, definitely. Well, he pointed out that you can see blatantly that in Horde mode, where you have the options you can put down like fortifications and silverbacks and all these sort of things, that there are 2 blank spaces, I think it is, or 1 blank space or whatever.
And the silverback in Horde can't use the rockets, even though it can in single player.
Yes.
Because the DLC is adding that ability.
Even though it's in single player already.
And the 3 maps that it's adding are already in it because they're in the scoreboards.
Yes, they are. They're in the leaderboards already.
The skins are obviously already in it because they're used in the campaign. So
That's true.
Apart from the costume for Dizzy, I think. But who plays as Dizzy? He fucks cars.
He does fuck cars. Woo!
Anyway, so but like we're talking about, we like the Horde modes. Is it called Horde Command Pack? So we may wait until it's on offer. We're not getting the shitty season pass.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck it right in the ear. You hear me? Vic?
Right in the ear. No, they can't hear you. They're too busy shouting dick tits at each other. So the
dick tits.
It's they coined a new phrase. Doesn't make any sense, but there you go. The very last thing on my list is something we've mentioned before about, remember EVE Online had that online clothes store, and then their CEO had that mental statement about why it was okay they charged ridiculous prices?
Yes.
Yeah, well, he's kind of like had to do a total U-turn and backtrack, and he's made a public apology about all his stupid decisions. He actually called them, well, he didn't specifically say, but he implied they were stupid.
He probably said they were foolish rather than stupid.
Yeah, but he was basically admitting that they had gone a bit la-la. And the thing that seemed to trigger it was an online protest. Because, like protests on the internet don't work. Signing those random websites, they don't do anything. But ones that practically influence the thing that they're trying to protest against does. So what they did was, various players that were quitting or whatever, they boycotted trading hubs, like the main areas people go to trade, the stations. And what they did was fire at a statue outside it, which triggers a hostile area in that zone and locks down the station so that no one can get into it to trade. So they crippled the economy. They actually did cripple the in-game economy until that apology happened. Now, I think the thing they were mainly annoyed about was not just that they were adding stupidly priced stuff that only the person playing can see. It's just that they aren't concentrating on adding content to the game that's, fun.
It's like they were going down the let's add hats. Let's not add
hats.
Let's not add it. Team Fortress gets away with that because they keep adding like guns and things like that, and they do keep adding maps every now and again.
And it's free.
And now it's free.
Yeah.
But in this case, they're just adding the hats and making you pay for the hats at crazy prices, but not giving you anything else.
Yeah, so people really kind of wanted them to get on with maybe adding to the game.
I always wanted to get into EVE because it always seemed like something that I would find really interesting. But I tried it and it was boring.
It is boring. Like I know I've described it like this on this podcast before, but it's one of those MMOs that's designed to make real money rather than to play for fun. That's why it has such a worldwide economy. It's known as having an economy.
Yeah, well, people have written papers on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we spoke about all the internet heists stealing money from the corporations in it.
Yep.
It's fascinating stuff. Boring, but fascinating.
I say.
Don't go... in fact, no, we're kind of probably starting to wrap things up, so feel free to go back into bizarre old English Gentile person.
How kind of you, good sir. I do enjoy a good pipe.
Go and try and plug all our various places in that voice. I might let people listen instead of pressing stop now.
If thou wishest to watch thy videos on the tube of you can visit Blighty Warrior, or you can visit Flick FFXI. I got it right again. Ha!
Yes, you did.
Yes. Alternatively, you can email us. I'm drifting off into a really weird voice here. Yeah, also you can get us at braingohurty@gmail.com.
I take it we had nothing to answer this week. I forget to answer.
No, nobody asks us any questions anymore.
Sad face. If you're too lazy to send an email, and I know some of you are, you could just comment on YouTube instead.
Yeah, we will start accepting things on that. Just anything, any sort of comment on YouTube, as long as it's...
Any old shit.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? Yeah, no holds barred. It's not my channel. Fuck it.
I probably should have put a proviso about Dragon Ball and Naruto stuff there, but never mind. And the blog. Have you done the blog?
Brain Go Hurty at Blogspot. No, it's not. Fuck. Shit. Fuck. Shit. Fuck.
What did you Brain Go Hurty at blog? Yeah, that was the email you were doing there or something.
braingohurty.blogspot.com. I think it's because I'm focusing on doing the voice. Don't do voices. It's bad for your health.
It's bad for plugging. Trying to concentrate on doing voices.
It's good for you.
Of course it is, yes. So braingohurty at gmail.com, braingohurty.blogspot.com. There you go. I'm saving you the trouble so you can concentrate on your accent.
Jolly good.
And I think that about wraps that up for another 2 weeks. So now we're going to go try and get Dark Souls co-op working for the first time since we got it.
How about thee, you blatherskite?
Did you press stop there?
I did now.